Hi everyone, just getting back to my example number one. Just got cut off with my screencast I was doing, but we were just about here, so I'll just continue on and then we'll cut the two videos together. So we're at page 6 at the moment, and we're just having a look at some curriculum and pedagogy ideas. Where the student sort of talks about the fact that multiple intelligence have become something which is quite prevalent in the 21st century. But I feel like it still needs sort of further investigation and sort of tying it back to the topic. It's sort of left out there, and I can obviously see that there's a connection back to 21st century learning, but I think it also needs to be tied in better with how or why change is important, because that's one important aspect of the essay. It sort of goes on to be a bit more general in this area here. There's some good points though about why change is important. So if you're struggling with that, this might be a good one to have a look at, where the student here defines obviously why change in education is important for students and teachers moving forward. There was a small connection back to globalization here, which talks about relating to the workforce, and it made connections back to 21st century learning, which was great to see. We then talked about constructivist theory, and my question after reading that paragraph was, what does this mean for teachers in classrooms? So again, you have to make sure that you're not speaking too broadly and you're not outlining broad facets when you're talking about curriculum review and why. The point was made that the Australian curriculum is now online and therefore it's supported with digital resources. What does that mean for teachers? So just make the link back to the classroom and talk about how that has an effect on teachers themselves. Here's a conclusion. So it starts off again by reiterating the facts of globalization, social change and technology being the three things that were investigated. I'll probably talk a little bit more about factors that were found as a result of doing this particular essay. It's quite an extensive reference list. There's no need for retrieval dates anymore. It is in alphabetical order. If you had feedback on your A1A that talked about having a second line indent, then this is a perfect example of what we're talking about, where the first line starts way over in the proper margin, and then the second line starts a few spaces over. So you can see that that's all starting from there. The first line is on the first margin, and then you make a second margin for that. So it's quite an extensive research that's been conducted here, a very long list. So we can see that the student has read further than just the learning materials, which is quite vital to getting a high end grade. So down the bottom I've written, is this a comprehensive critique? Has the student shown a capacity for critical thinking? My answer to that is that I didn't think so. I didn't think it was a comprehensive critique of education in terms of change and those particular factors and how they influence education. Was it discussed very well? Yes. Was there much critical thought and analysis? Not so much. I'm thinking it was more of a discussion of ideas and were presented, but there wasn't so much analysis where there was a strong sort of argument presented either one way or the other. So as a result of that, it's been given a high credit. So it was almost to distinction level, just didn't quite make it there. So we've given it a 68 to 69, which is a credit.